I finally went and did the damn thing. That's right, I've built myself a DIY wall-mounted arcade machine out of plywood. I've seen some really nice looking arcade machines pop up online, but once I looked into them, there were just a few things I thought were missing or some things that I thought I could improve if I could just build one myself. And apparently, I'm not the only person to think this way, because I saw more than a few comments on videos of these arcade cabinets saying the same thing. For that money, I would just build it myself, etc. But now that I have zipped up some plywood in the driveway and built one myself, the big question is, was it worth it? And how much did it cost? So, the plan for this build was to include a 32-inch high refresh rate monitor, all classic Sanwa arcade buttons and levers, USB ports on the sides to easily plug in more controllers, a full gaming PC inside capable of both retro and modern arcade games, Wi-Fi and Bluetooth capability, and to top it off, RGB accent lighting going around the exterior of the cabinet to match what is actually happening on the screen. All housed in a wall-mounted plywood DIY arcade cabinet. So what does it play? Well, basically anything I want, within reason. Because it has a full gaming PC inside, it's capable of emulating lots of retro titles, of course, but it can also play modern games too. You'll mainly want to play modern arcade titles from genres like fighting games, puzzle games, or shmups to really take advantage of the control scheme here. I went with an 8-button layout because that's what's needed to play most modern arcade games, as well as generally enough buttons to emulate most titles up to the PS1 era, before dual analog sticks took the world by storm. But even so, if I wanted to play a game with dual analog sticks, I could just plug the controller into the USB ports on the side here, or use Bluetooth as well. And speaking of other controllers, one of my favorite ways to waste time here in the studio is to shred some plastic guitar. To do that, I just boot up Yarg on the cabinet, plug an Explorer into the side USB port, and start rocking. But anyways, the heart of the arcade machine that runs all these games is just inside this cabinet door with the classic rotating key lock. Inside is a full gaming PC. These were just some spare components I had lying around from previous PC builds, so the specs are nothing crazy at the moment, but plenty for what I need. If you have higher spec needs, then you can simply choose higher end components like a better CPU, GPU, or more storage. In my experience, my little gaming PC here has been plenty powerful enough, pushing plenty of frames to the high refresh rate 32-inch Samsung G5 monitor. I went with a large 32-inch monitor since the 24 or even 27s that I saw just didn't seem big enough to stand next to another person comfortably and both play at the same time. I picked a high refresh 165Hz version just in case I came across a modern arcade title with an unlocked frame rate like yet another rhythm game or Tetris Effect Connected, for example. But the reality is most arcade style games like fighters and shmups are locked to 60Hz. And the same is true for a lot of retro consoles. They are stuck at 60Hz most of the time. So opting for a high refresh rate monitor is not super necessary for a build like this, but man is it awesome for those games that support it. Speaking of retro consoles, we have enough emulation horsepower to push pretty much anything into the PS2 era, which is right about where I wanted it to be to hit the sweet spot for the price to performance for this build. And speaking of price to performance, it's about time we talked about how much this cost. Well, I did my best to tally up everything I possibly could, including what I spent on the building materials, the computer parts, the lights, and even the Guitar Hero guitars, and it came out to about $1,200 US. There are definitely ways to get that figure down, like skipping out on the Guitar Hero guitars if that's not your jam, or foregoing the accent lighting, or going with a cheaper monitor if you prefer. I wasn't really tracking my hours on this project. It definitely took longer than I thought, but it didn't take longer than a few weekends to complete. But at the end of the day, this DIY project makes me really happy, so of course I have to say it was worth it. But what do you think? Is $1,200 still too expensive for a DIY arcade project like this? Would you build one yourself, or would you just buy one? If you have any specific questions about this build project, or you just want to see more behind the scenes, or you want to see more build projects like this on the channel, just drop me a comment down below. Thank you for watching. Peace.